Hey guys, Coach Sharp back here. So this is part two of my second little mini video on the imaginary number I and how we use it. The first one was on the powers of I. So now we're going to talk about when we are using I to simplify square roots, okay? I actually started to write this and my Zoom cut out on me temporarily. So I just had to restart the video. All right. So, put the negative wrong place, my bad. Trying to hurry up and get out of here. It's about 3:32 on Monday, so I'm trying to go ahead and get this done so I can get home. So, square root of -9, okay? Y'all should have learned at some point when I'm multiplying two numbers that are underneath square roots, my answer would still be underneath the square root, the radical sign, and I would just multiply the numbers, okay? So kind of going in the reverse of that, I can break this up to the square root of 9 times the square root of -1. So again, with what we know about the square root of -1 now, we know it's equivalent to I, okay? Square root of 9, that's a perfect square. We should know that. It is 3, okay? I'm not going to make y'all do this yet just because of how the practice assignment on the book website is. Normally, I would still want you starting to do plus or minus 3 for the square root because we talked about that with the vocab. You can't put the plus or minus 3 in for your answer on the book website though. So I'm going to leave it off for now, but we need to really remember that that's what's really there, okay? So square root of 9 is 3, square root of -1 is I, so I've got 3 times I, which is just 3I. Pretty simple. Of course, not everything is going to be that simple. Sometimes I'm going to get a square root that is not a perfect square. So I'm going to do the square root of -27. Okay? Same idea, split it up to 27 and 1. Square root of -1 is I. And now 27 is not a perfect square. So we have to go back to what we learned way back at the beginning of Algebra 1. We got to simplify this radical, okay? Simplify the square root. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to do a factor tree for 27. I'm going to get down all my prime factors, and then I've got to see what pairs up. So 27, you don't want to do 1 and 27 because that's not going to get me anywhere because then I can't factor the 1 that would be over here and I'm still trying to factor 27. So you want a factor pair other than 1 times the number itself. 27 only has 1, 3 and 9. Again, it doesn't matter if you flip 9 and 3, okay? What I like to do is once I factor something, cross it out. So I know that I've already used it and factored it and I don't get confused later when I'm trying to pair up all my numbers, okay? So this 9 is going to break down to 3 and 3. So again, I'm going to come up here and scratch through the 9. So I can't factor any of my 3's any further. So I factored this all the way down. 3 times 3 times 3 is what would give me 27. So what I have to do now is I have to make pairs of any like factors. So it doesn't matter if you do these first 2 3's, if you want to do this first 3 and this last 3 for some reason, or if you just do the 3's that are next to each other. I'm just going to do that because it's easier. You want to circle a pair, okay? If you have any single numbers, we're going to underline those. So the way I do it, ultimately, when you've done a factor tree, you shouldn't have anything that's not crossed out, circled, or underlined. If you have a number that does not have any of those on it, you need to go back and figure out what you did wrong. So I've circled the pair. So now what I do with the pair is this. Let me drag this down a little bit. So for every pair of numbers that I have, I'm going to put 1 outside of my square root, okay? I draw my square root. So for my pair of threes, I'll put 1 3 outside. And then the single 3, any single numbers you have, go inside. So I've simplified the square root of 27. I've now simplified this to this. Okay? So I've got 3 square root 3. I'm still multiplying. And then I still have my I from up here. Okay? So now this is going to look a little different when we get up here. Again, some of y'all might think we just stick the I on the very end. Okay? We're not going to do that here, because if we try to do that here, it might look like the I is underneath my square root, which is incorrect. So what we're going to do is we're going to stick it in front of my square root, but still behind any number that is out here. So I have now simplified square root of negative 27 to 3i square root 3. I'm going to do one more, so I'm going to do a little bigger number, so when we just don't have, you know, one number going inside and one number going outside, just so we remember what to do. Okay? All right, I already got 96 up there. We'll just do that one again. Oops, what did I do? Someone cooperate. That is one of my hands. There we go. All right. Sorry about that. So we'll stick with the square root of negative 96. Okay. So we're going to break this up to 96 and square root of negative 1. Again, we know this is going to be I. Okay. And now for 96, all you need is one factor pair that's not 1 or 96. It doesn't matter if I use 2 or 48, 3 and 32, 4 and 24, 6 and 16, or 8 and 12. It doesn't matter. If we do it right, we're going to end up in the same place. So I'm going to start with 8 and 12. Okay? So now you got to say, let's cross out the 96. Can I factor both of those? Yes, I can. 8 is going to go to 4 and 2. 12 is going to go to 4 and 3. Cross out 8, cross out 12. So now we're looking here. I know 2 can't be factored, 3 can't be factored, but both of these 4s can be broken down into 2 times 2. So now I have completely factored the square root of 96. Okay? I have 5 2s and a 3. So the same idea applies. I've got to pair up any 2 of the same factor and then see what I've got left over. So again, probably easiest thing here is my 2's there, my 2's there. But I've also got this 2 that's left up here and this 3 that's left up here. So now what's this going to give me? So now I'm going to do my square root. So now for both of these pairs of 2's, I have to put 1 2 outside of the square root. So 1 2 outside for each pair, okay? And whenever I have more than one number, either outside or inside, I have to multiply them. So those are going to go there. This 2 is going to come down here. This 3 is going to go right there. So I've got 2 times 2 outside, 2 times 3 inside, which is going to leave me 4 square root 6. So I have simplified the square root of 96 all the way to that. And I'm still multiplying times I. So I'm going to do the same thing I did last time. I'm going to stick it outside the square root, but behind the 4, 4i square root 6. All right, so there is how we use I to simplify square roots. And again, if you have any questions, just send me a message and let me know. See you guys later.